child abuse is real in Northwest Florida and Pensacola. And the thing that struck me the most is how close it is to you. And what I mean by that is it's usually a family member, a friend.
What happened to me as a kid was something that we were never allowed to talk about. And I say we, meaning my family. It happened when I was 8 years old, and then it was like it never happened. We never discussed it. We just moved on with our lives.
We all have a lot of survival skills and coping mechanisms. A common survival skill that I see is downplaying the trauma, or maybe not even addressing it, or just repressing it all. It doesn't go away. Trauma affects us on a cellular level. That's been proven, and like, this thing happened to you, but it doesn't have to define you. You just have to do the hard work of facing it and not suppressing it.
I knew that there was probably some stuff that needed to be addressed because I grew up feeling very angry, and that kind of became my persona. I was Nikki, that tough girl. But growing up, I didn't want to be that tough girl all the time, because being tough and shoving your emotions down is exhausting, and you can only do that for so long.
One of the most terrifying things for me, especially when I was a child, was when no one would listen. That's scary. When a child is actively telling you something is wrong and something is happening, and you brush it off, oh, nobody's doing that, that's a problem, which later leads to something a little bit more severe. After getting over the trauma and the hurt, it also sparked something in me to say, hey, I'm gonna be that voice. I'm gonna stand on that front line for those kids that sometimes people won't believe, or they may overlook, or they may think that you're okay because you're known for being the strong one.
I think it's so important because we're not mandated to exist. We exist because our community took a look at how we were investigating and treating these child abuse cases and knew that we could do a better job and that we should do a better job on behalf of the child. So yes, abuse has always been happening. Yes, it's always been investigated and prosecuted, but it hasn't been done in an effective and child-friendly way. Our outcomes kind of speak for themselves in terms of prosecution, and families are a lot more likely to engage with mental health recovery if they feel supported from the first time they step through our doors. What drew me to the work was the efficiency of it, and what keeps me here is seeing that how effective it is and that the families we serve are getting the help that they need.
Gulf Coast Kids House provides them an opportunity to speak to an adult in a manner that is kid-friendly, and we take it at the child's pace. By the time they leave here, they're happy, and just the relief that you see in a child, it makes the difference.
You know, I never thought of the whole aspect of a kid having to tell their story multiple times. And, you know, kids have a very imaginative mind. A good defense attorney can get a kid to tell a story 7 different ways, 7 different times. And what the Kids House allows that abused child to do is tell that story once.
I'm still in therapy. I'm still learning and growing and trying to let go of that anger. Maybe that'll be something I deal with the rest of my life. But I know that this group that was offered here at the Gulf Coast Kids House was the beginning of that healing journey.
Anything to do with children is necessary, and I think that's part of why we're on the planet, is to want to give back. And it's just something I've tried to share with my kids. You get so much more back from it in here than what most people would imagine.
When you make the contribution, whether it's monetary, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, whether it's another resource, you're helping the community grow. Oftentimes, children go unnoticed, or their needs are at this point pushed to the side because everybody's in survival mode. Well, if the adults are in survival mode, what mode are the children in? Who's going to advocate, or who's going to speak up for them? That contribution allows individuals, working professionals, to speak up, to advocate, to allow those kids that safe space
Anything that you can do personally to give back is going to help a kid in the long run. Giving funds, giving your time, giving your resources to the kids' house, make sure those kids have a voice.
I have 2 children. I dream of seeing them like playing with other kids' neighbors and running around and whatnot. And I know other parents want that. So you're constantly looking like, where is a safe space for that to happen? Well, that safe space is not where you're looking for, it's what you're building. If you can be engaged and active with the school system, right? With the park systems, and you are truly participating and developing those meaningful connections with your neighbor, with your friends, then you're gonna feel safe everywhere because your intention, the meaning is there. And together we are creating those values for everyone involved. And if we do not become part of it in some way, this place will not exist.
The job of being a kid is to not have to stress about things and to play, to figure out who they are, and to have a kid come in and kind of like a little gray cloud is above their head, or they have all of these PTSD symptoms where they're always on the lookout for danger. They're having these nightmares or flashbacks, and then to have them leave with just big smiles and to come back to being who they are, I think is not only a win for them, but also a win for me and for the community because we have given a kid their life back. Yeah. We all have the power to create space.
For healing.
For safety.
For change.
When we hold space for a child in need,
we shape the future of our community.
How will you impact the space we make?